It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, Little Flock. Go to the book of John, chapter 6. The book of John, chapter 6. Little Flock, one thing you must understand is that when you're speaking to people, you need to understand who you're speaking to when you're speaking. Not what you see when you look at them, not what they appear to be by their outward appearance, but what really stands before you. Consider it. A spiritual man or a carnal man? You must know this when you're dealing with a person or a group of individuals or a church or anything. Are they spiritual or are they carnal? Why is it important that you know that? We're going to read John chapter 6. We're going to start at verse, verse 49. John chapter 6, verse 49. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. Stop. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness and are dead. What is the wilderness? The wilderness is that place between the two worlds that I've just asked you about. The carnal and the spiritual. Between the two is a wilderness. You see? There's also a sea that one must cross to go from one side to the other. You see that? Now, when you leave one side, which is the carnal, which is represented in the word by Egypt, or work, or labor, as you see the Israelites when they were in Egypt, what did they cry to God about? What were they praying to God about when they were in Egypt? It tells you, from the hard labor. So do you see it, little flock? The children of God are bogged down by work and labor and slave masters. You see? And eventually that workload becomes so severe that you grow weary with it. So in order to live in Egypt, you must understand the ways of Egypt, because the place you live in is spiritually called Egypt. So then when you read spiritual, that can also be translated as hidden or the inner. So though the outside could be called anything, it could be called America, it could be called the United, it could be called the States, it could be called any damn thing. What is it truly? Because that's the time that we are in, is the time to deal truly and in spirit. Because that's the true worshipers of God, not somebody that looks like they worship God, not somebody that sounds like they worship God, not somebody that appears to be worshiping God. God is tired of that, and so are his true servants, because his true servants are hidden underneath this veneer that the world has put upon them, that they are supposed to appear a certain way. So when you see a true servant of God, you cannot recognize him. Why? Because you have been living in the carnal world that is spiritually called Egypt. And if it's called Egypt, then what does that have to do with? A hard, heavy workload. And if that's not true, then why, when Yahushua came, why did he say, "Come to me, all that are heavy laden and labor, and I shall give you rest"? So a person who's working hard as fuck only is looking for what at the end of his day? He's looking for rest, isn't he? So when the rest is presented, look how few there are that actually believe it. You've been working so hard and so used to work that you don't think that God is going to hear you when you cry out about it and actually send you any deliverance. But when he does send the deliverer, do you believe him? Like when he sent Moses? Now you think that when he sends you a deliverer that's going to bring you into a new world or a new state or a new country, you don't think that there's going to be a new way that you're going to have to exist in order to be in there. So nobody wants to take the classes necessary to be eligible to enter into the new, which is the spiritual, which is where the true worshipers are. So the true servants of God, one of which is called the branch. We know that's a true servant because Abba said, "Behold, I shall bring him forth." So if you think that God ain't going to bring him forth, then that means you don't believe God's word. But when he come, who shall be able to stand? Because he's like a refiner's fire that purges the shit out of you because you're still in your carnal mind. And if he is not, then he's going to let you know when you are. That's simple. And the reason why he's letting you know that you are is because he's letting you know that you're returning to Egypt. Don't you think Moses was also dealing with that when it came to the children of Israel? Well, if you don't think that he was, read the word of God. It'll tell you that's exactly what he had to deal with. People that wanted to stone him because they didn't actually believe what he taught them. So that one little verse we just read, they ate manna. What does it mean? Well, God's servant would be called a messenger, correct? He's often called the messenger of the covenant, correct? Messenger is the word there. That's the word angel. So manna is called angels' food. Do you see that there, little flock? So what do angels eat? And how do they eat? Faithfully and gracefully. And if you don't understand what I mean when I say that, then I can help you understand. But you have to understand how I'm able to help you understand. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You have to be humble enough to say, wait a minute. If this man can help me understand the new world that I must come into, then what does that mean about him? And who does that mean that he serves? So now, the manna was what? What was the manna, little flock? The grace and the faith. Well, let's see. What does the saints have? It says the patience and the faith of the saints. Is that what it said or that's not what it said? What's up?
I sleep right here, bro.
Oh, okay, for sure. I'm just staying out the rain, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah. You doing all right today?
You know,
Oh, you good, bro. Yeah.
you guys hear all the time. I just be having to let them know. I
Oh.
don't know
For sure.
who. This your cup?
No, I don't know who that is. So yeah, so when you think about it, you say, okay, hold on one second, John. All right, angel's food. Messenger is angel. So the messengers of God, they eat by faith through the grace of God. That's why Christ said, take no thought of what you shall eat. So if he's talking to the servants that are going to go forth and do this work, then when they go forth, they're told not to take a script, not to take this, not to take that, not to do this, not to do that. That's because they're going to live on faith now. That's the new way of living. So you see how the grandson tells you the new way he's been taught? Isn't it easy to understand it? I don't tell you the old way. You're coming out of the old way. You're coming into the new, where you need somebody to help you. Or as the Bible says, I need some man to guide me. That's the branch, the servant that God's going to send. You see it, little flockulators? That's how you know that's him, because he's not of the old world. He's teaching you how to get in the new world. Am I teaching you all that? Wow. So I'm teaching you the manna that's come down from heaven. Don't you see it? Now, why is it hard for people to understand what I'm saying when I say you're hearing the manna that has come down from heaven? You're hearing the faith and the grace that has come down from heaven. You're actually partaking of it. Now, when you eat of this that I'm giving to you, it's going to bear a result in you. Let's read it and let's see. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. Now, why are they dead? What does the Bible say about them in the wilderness? They did not enter in for unbelief. So is unbelief the opposite of faith? Yes. You see? So they were offered the new way and they didn't believe that I can just walk through this wilderness. You're telling me, Moses, that God loved me so much, is what you're trying to convince me, is that God loves me so much that I can just walk through this wilderness where there's nothing ever even growing. There isn't any crops. And you're telling me he'll still feed me? That's what you're trying to get me to believe? That's the kind of people that I'm sent to deal with. Skeptical ass people that only believe in what they see. So if I look at the desert and I look at what it looks like, there's nothing but sand and sky. What would carnally make me think I have food out there? Nothing. but faith will produce it. Abba makes the desolate place bloom forth instantly, if you believe it so. See how they all perished, even though they ate the manna? So now, I want to give you an example of another person who ate some manna and perished. His name was Judas Iscariot. He ate the manna that came down from heaven as well. And guess what he did? He perished for unbelief, didn't he? So are you going to be like a Judas today who is going to receive this manna and still disbelieve it and then perish in the wilderness for unbelief? Well, let's read. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, verse 50, that a man may eat thereof and not die. Stop. So they ate and died, but this manna a man may eat and not die. Do you hear it? So now, if you take in what I'm telling you, which is to simply close your eyes and assume that the thing you desire, you have it. And what I mean by assume you have it is you feel the feelings associated with having that desire. So now, if you were a starving person, you feel like you are. That's called the devil and Satan working on you. What you need to do is have a transformation of the renewing of your mind to be not conformed to the image of this world, and so that you think differently concerning your circumstance. So you say, well, I'm feeling bad because I'm hungry and starving. That's taking the Lord's name in vain. So let me take his name in truth. I am filled, I am warm, and I am comfortable. Now, how would I feel if it were so? That's the work that you must do. That is the mountain that you must climb within yourself. That is the labor that is profitable for you to do. Because it doesn't do any good for you to get the comfort you're looking for, a bed to sleep in, and some food to eat that night that gives you temporary comfort, just for you to go back out tomorrow as a homeless poor person and search for those same comforts, same feel, same everything else again with the same sad feeling you got. Because that's what they're doing. But had they known that they can eat this food one time and never die, then they would eat this food that I'm giving them, which is assume that you have it, brother. Now feel as though you have. Now, if you feel as though you have, doesn't that mean that you believe it? And you're going to say yes. Now, do you see how you're opposite to those who were in the wilderness who died because of unbelief? They couldn't close their eyes and imagine it and feel as though it was so. So they couldn't enter in because it's within you. Everything you're looking for is inside of you. So am I telling you to go inside of you? So then you know I'm not no crook. You know I ain't no robber, and you know I ain't no thief. I'm telling you where the treasure is. What kind of thief does that? What kind of thief breaks into your house, finds your safe, finds the combination, opens it up, and then runs up to your bedroom, wakes you up and says, hey man, did you know you had $1 million down in that safe right there? Did you know your combination was 2086? Did you know that? Did you know that I was here to take your money? Were you aware that I was going to do that? Well, just in case you didn't know, that's what I'm here to do. That's not what the hell happens, and you guys know it's not. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm pointing right at your treasure saying it's right there. Feel it. Feel it. Stop just thinking it. Stop just wanting it. Stop lacking it. And have it. And if you have it, then that means you believe it. Even though there isn't any evidence. And if there isn't any evidence, like when you look at that desert and there isn't any evidence that there's food out there, but yet Abba tells you to go and you do, then you realize you were getting fed the whole damn time you're out there. Then you stop disbelieving God. You stop doubting God. You start to know how much you're loved, because that's all of your problems. All of your problems is you just don't know how much you're loved. You still think you're less valuable than a whole flock of sparrows, even though you were told that you're way more valuable than them niggas. So it's time you started acting like it, which means a sparrow doesn't work or toil, but Abba makes sure that he's fed because he loves him. So then if you don't work and you don't toil, you don't think you deserve to eat, do you? Because you don't know what true labor and true toil is, so you work in vain. Just like the Bible said you all are doing, even though you come and you look at a man like me who's telling you how to rest and you think I'm peculiar at a time like this when everybody's talking about what you need to do to be pleasing to God. I'm telling you what you need to do to be pleasing to God. Believe him for once. How about that? Believe what he told you. Then maybe he'll be pleased with you. Instead of thinking, oh, some man told me this, that's what I'll do. Some man told me that, that's what I'll do. Some man told me this will work, that's what I'll do. Some men lie. But God tells the truth. So who do you think you need to listen to today? Who do you think you need to be listening to? Some man who's going to lie to you? Some nigga who's just going to make up works to make you look good in front of him? That you gain his approval? What good is that to you? I feel like Esau when it comes to man's approval. What profit is that shit to me? Throw that shit behind my back. I abhor that shit. I abhor men's judgment because men's judgment is wrong as hell. Always has been, and it always will be. But if you let Abba's judgment be true today, if you submit to what he has told you about yourself, that you're loved and you're worth more, and to take no thought, then you can rest. Because taking no thought calls you to rest. It calls you to psychologically rest in your soul. But y'all don't want that shit, I guess, huh? Y'all don't want to rest. Y'all want to work. You want to work. I heard a man come to me one day. This man sought for me, came for me across the whole damn nation, came to meet me. And all he wanted to talk about was what I needed to do at working. Work. I told him I ain't doing shit till Abba tell me to do it. And he got offended and we damn near fist fought about the shit. I'm not making a move until Abba tells me to move. Men don't like to hear that shit. I bear witness that that's true. They get ornery when you say that. They get mad when you say that. And the only reason they get mad when you say that is because you ain't being a fucking servant. That's why. But you serve the living God who don't tell you to do this and tell you to do that and tell you to do this and tell you to do that, tell you to do that, tell you to do that to please him. Believe me. That's what I want you to do. Because guess what Abraham did, and it was counted for righteousness to him. He believed God. Why do y'all want to act like it's some other shit he did when the Bible says when he believed, that's when he was called righteous. He believed way before he got Isaac. That's what I'm trying to tell each and every one of you. That's faith. When you're old as hell and your damn dick don't even get hard anymore, I got to talk like this to carnally minded ass people. Maybe they'll understand if I come down to their level. But if you can't understand what I'm about to tell you right now, then you damn sure can't understand spiritual things. But an old ass man who's decrepit don't even get hard anymore. His wife don't even get wet anymore. She don't even ovulate anymore. How the hell are they supposed to have a child then? But they did because they believed God when he said that they would. Now, what about you? Once you believe something, you rest and wait for it. What about you? You start working for some shit? You start working for a Christmas gift, nigga? Oh, yeah, if I act good all year, he knows who's been naughty and who's been nice. Nice means who's been stupid. So, yeah, Santa Claus is looking for stupid-ass children. You gonna be one of them stupid-ass children looking for Santa Claus? Because Santa Claus ain't real. He's some made up shit by men to get you to spend your fucking money. See, that's men's problem. They think money is going to get them out of every situation that they're facing. And they feel safe when they have money. So they disguise the fact that they love money under loving God. Yeah, right. They even put it right there to show you. In God we trust. And they put it right there in their money. Why would you put a statement like that on your money? What are you trying to prove to me? What are you trying to prove to the world? You trust God by printing up some money that doesn't even have any value and putting that on there? That's supposed to mean something? See how they honor him with their lips, but their hearts are far from him? All they care about is gain from themselves because that's the mark of Cain. I told you all of that. Cain just wants gain. That's why his name is what it is. Cain, gain. That's all that nigga give a fuck about. That's what his name means, to acquire. I told you all that, but I don't guess you guys can't hear it. And we're going to get into why you can't right here in this scripture. I just had to let you guys know about that manna and prove it to you and show it to you so that you can understand what it truly really is. It ain't no little wafer on the ground that land there looking like a mushroom on the ground. That ain't what it is. It's faith and grace because that's what it requires to patiently wait for the manna. And don't plant any seeds. Don't wait for a harvest. That's not what God wants you to do anymore. That's what you used to do. Now he wants you to wait on him and wait for the manna to fall. Can you make the manna fall, nigga? Can you make it come? Or can you just wait? So then when you wait, what kind of state do you think you should wait in? Calm, peaceful, or not? So like I said, when people say, well, grandson, how are we going to eat? And they see me waiting calmly and patiently, what am I proving I'm waiting on? I'm obviously waiting on God's grace to feed me. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It's about grace and faith. It's not about a piece of wafer. That's why they died, because they thought it was about a wafer. It was not. It was about you patiently waiting. And that's why God said, when you collect it, eat what you're going to eat that day. Don't try to save none. And when they tried to save some up, what happened? The damn maggots got all up in that shit and ate it all up. Why did God do that? To prove to you that you don't need to think about tomorrow. This is Christ teaching the Israelites, but they can't see Christ. It's the same teaching. but it's carnally given to them because they can't understand spiritual things, which we're really going to get into that today. So he had to come down to a carnal level to teach them during Moses' time. Now, men are going back to Moses' time and back to the carnal teachings when they should be remaining in Christ's day, because that was Christ that was with them then, trying to teach them even though they were rebellious to the Spirit, just like he said they are. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. How did the grandson tell you he got out of jail that day? I am. That's how I ate of that bread, nigga. I'm not waiting for nobody else to do anything for me. I'm waiting for Abba to perform it for me. I am. I call on his name. That's what the Israelites did to get out of Egypt. That's what I'm doing to get out of my fucking strait that I'm in. I am. I am. And I will do that. I'll never die. I will always escape, because Abba makes a way to escape every temptation. If you're looking for the escape, instead of looking for the goddamn temptation you want so damn bad to fill your lust with, I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man, how many? Who? Any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. Do you believe God? I do. So I eat that bread and I live by it and I do it. I'm a doer of these words. What do? You're a doer of Moses' words, huh? Moses said, listen to that other prophet. Did you do that? If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, watch, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? So I want to ask you flockulators who are in this class right now, why are the Jews saying that? Because they're spiritually minded? Are they supposed to be spiritually minded? Are they supposed to be God's people? Are they supposed to be the spiritual people, because God is a spirit? So if they're God's people, they're supposed to be spiritual. Are they? Or are they constantly being proven for being carnal, like Nicodemus, who was a ruler of the Jews, like these Jews who are striving? What do you say? That's what I say. That's what I say. That's what I say. Then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have what? No life in you, nigga. So if you don't have the spirit, you ain't got no life. You're going to look like Adam did before the life was breathed into him. A carnal being doing carnal things until the spirit comes to teach you spiritual things and rise you from those carnal things, never to return to them, because the carnal mind is death. That's why you niggas was dying working so goddamn hard. That's why. What does it say about them? They sought it not by faith, but as it were, by the works of the law. So people get confused as if God is only upset with people who are just obviously sinners. But it's not. It is those who think they're serving God who are sinners. That's why he said, publicans and harlots shall enter the kingdom before you. Righteous, so-called righteous niggas. See it? Guess you guys can't. Oh, well, personal problem if you ask me. He that eateth, watch this, whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I am him. So then, if you don't have spiritual ears, then won't you sound like the Jews who said, who wants us to eat them? What, these guys think we're zombies or something? Well, you are. You are zombies. You didn't read Ezekiel, nigga? Oh, wow, grandson. It was a whole damn field of zombies, wasn't there? And they didn't become alive until what happened? The Spirit entered them. So that means you're dead in your sin. I don't care if you think you serve God. You are dead in your sin if you are not born again of the Spirit, like Nicodemus was told. So you're a ruler. You think you're in a good case if you're a ruler, don't you? Nicodemus was a ruler, but he wasn't in a good case, was he? Because the world that you live in is upside down and flipped. That's why. But continuing, my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. If you become one with me, then you will be what? What we call married. And if you're married and you're one, then you're no longer the man you once were, are you? All right then. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. Same thing the grandson's saying. When you come here, you're coming here to eat. Now, this should prove what God means about the law. Do I actually have physical food that I'm feeding to you? No. But are you eating? You guys have already admitted that you are. So then you should understand what God means when he talks about a diet then. Don't you? But y'all still want to be carnal and to start turning back to carnal things. Go back to Egypt then, man. Go on back since you love it so goddamn much. You love work so much. I don't. Work is a fucking curse. Why come you guys can't understand that it is? Adam and Eve, what were they doing in the garden? But then when they sinned and went into the carnal mind, then what happened? Cursed is the ground by the sweat of your brow. That's what you do when you work. It's a curse. And Noah came to give them rest from that, but they still refused to hear him and they drowned to the death. And it's going to happen again in the days of the Son of Man when the Spirit come again, as it has come today to deliver you from your carnal minds and set you free at last. But you won't have it. Do you guys hear this message? What will possess me to speak this way? What do you think? A devil? A demon? Is that what you think? What do you think it is? As the living Father hath sent me, okay, even he shall live by me. Verse 58. This is the bread, this is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. Spiritual. They ate carnal. Now it's time to eat the spiritual bread. And if you eat the spiritual bread, you will grow thereby. You're a newborn baby, I thought, when you got born again. You're not? Well, if you guys aren't eating of the bread of life after you become spiritually born again, then you can't grow. You need to go back to the milk. And a lot of you people need to go back to the milk again. Because I'm serving up steaks that people's choking on because they ain't got no damn teeth in their mouth. It's that simple. They get mad at me because they don't understand what I'm saying, as if what I'm saying is wrong. That's the only thing your carnal mind can say when you don't understand something. You must say it's wrong because your carnal mind is so arrogant, it can't believe it is. It's that simple. It will not accept that it's wrong. It cannot accept that it did something wrong. It has to blame somebody else for why it did something wrong because I'm too good to possibly ever did anything wrong. So it's that snake's fault. It's that woman's fault. It's anybody else's fault other than my own. That's the ego for you. That's the carnal mind for you. You can't be saved as long as you're in that way of thinking. You must take self-accountability and say, I'm wrong. The reason why I don't understand the grandson of right thought when he talks is because I'm lacking, because I didn't drink the damn sincere milk that I may grow thereby. I didn't study to show myself approved, but that's going to make me look bad. And so the only thing I can do is hate that nigga right there who's talking to me called the grandson, is to hate his guts, to kill him, to tell him to shut the fuck up and don't talk anymore, to tell him he's a sinner, to tell him God hate him, to tell him whatever you can to try to lie to me. This shit ain't gonna work. You're gonna fail and fall by the wayside, nigga, because I ate the manna. I got the living bread that come down from heaven and I'm alive today. What about you? It's all about how you take the breath. How are you taking it? In vain? Or are you taking it in value today? Do you breathe today to give value to your brothers and sisters? Or do you just breathe to feed your fat ass stomach today? Do you just breathe to fuck another dirty ass bitch on the street again for $20, nigga? Do you just breathe again to chug another fucking fifth down your throat and get drunk again and wash away all your pains you're so scared to face, nigga? He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. 59. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught at Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, this is a hard saying. See, Yahushua said his burden is easy and light. It's only hard because you're carnal. When you're spiritual, it's easy and light to hear what he's saying. Who can hear it? Look at these guys. His disciples are saying this. These aren't even worldly ass carnal people that's just out there in the world. These are his own disciples saying, who can hear this? Nobody would be able to hear that and understand what Yahushua is saying, is what they're saying. Nobody can receive this. You hear that? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured, what did the Israelites do to that spirit that followed them in that cloud? To the spirit that followed them in that pillar of fire. What did the Israelites do against him? They murmured, just like they're murmuring here. You see it? You see it? They murmured at it. He said unto them, does this offend you? See the question he asked? He wouldn't ask it if they weren't. He knows that they are, so he's asking them to expose that they are instead of trying to hide that shit behind a veneer. You offended? Are you? What and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickeneth. Quickeneth means give life to. So what give life? Let's see. He breathed into the nostrils of Adam, and Adam became a living. Stop. I'm not going to say anything else. Living. He became living. When what? The Spirit entered in. So there are men walking on the earth right now who do not have the Spirit. They are called dead. But if the Spirit have been breathed into your nostrils, then it's evident and clear for everybody to see that it is, because you become a living being, like the grandson is. So if somebody says, well, grandson, it seems like you're teaching this. It seems like you're teaching that. It seems like something's wrong here. It seems like something's wrong there. My only question for you is the Spirit in this temple? If it is, then how the hell am I doing something wrong and the Spirit resides with me? That's so stupid of people. I don't get it. I be looking at their ass like, how do I have the Spirit blasting through this temple if what you say I'm teaching is wrong? The Spirit will not abide here if what I'm saying is wrong, if what I'm doing is wrong, if how I'm looking is wrong. If I am wrong, the Spirit cannot abide with me. It's that simple. But if it is, then how I'm doing something wrong? And how come the Spirit ain't abiding with you if you're right? Because the true worshipers worship him in spirit and in truth. That's why. Watch what Yahushua says here. Watch what he says here. So he said he knew there was murmuring, and he said, this offend you? He said, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. So when you hear Yahushua's words, if you hear them with your fleshly ears, it will not profit you anything. So when you hear the commands of God and you hear them carnally and implore and start to do them with your carnal understanding, it is of no profit to do that. That's what he's saying. So then there must be an actual, real, true way to actually do it. The grandson keep trying to tell you guys, but you unbelieving ass niggas don't want to believe. So, okay, that's all good. As long as the flockulators believe, then I'm good. Then I'm good. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. Watch. The words that I speak unto you, they are what? They are what? They are spirit and they are life. Same thing with the grandson of right thought. I'm activating you. That means to sprout. That's my name. I cause the children of God to sprout by what I'm talking about and what I'm saying. I'm whack-a-moling every lie that come against the knowledge of the truth. The truth is that you are free Israelites. Fuck Egypt. Fuck Pharaoh. Fuck all them niggas in the 3D. Come back to your God, the living God, the invisible spirit that dwelleth within you. and claim what you want and feel as though it's so and stun on them hoe ass niggas. Take everything from them, Israel. Don't pity them. Don't spare them. Take it all. And you guys think it's strange when I say that. It's the Spirit saying it to you. Jacob is the world that followeth it. Esau is dead. Throw his ass in the pit and rise up and stump his fucking ass down till he's got knots all over his shit like Satan. Since he wants to be Satan's child, crush his ass under your damn foot. That's the carnal mind. Crush the carnal mind under your damn foot and rise up and be the spirit man that Abba made you to be. The sons, the Beniha Elohim, the ones that he made that were hidden, that the whole world is waiting to rise up. Rise up, Israel. Sprout, Israel. The words that I speak, they are spirit and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. So then is it different what I'm saying today? There are some people that listen to this that will not believe what I'm saying. They are so convinced that what I'm doing is evil that they cannot hear it. But if you knew the word, then you'd be prepared for what you're looking at. Yahushua said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you said, behold, a winebibber and a gluttonous man. John the Baptist came neither eating or drinking, and they said he hath a devil. Both of those men were sent from God, but yet look at the two opinions men had about them. So then God had the same opinion concerning those two men, but the men had two different opinions. See how men are double-minded, but God is single-minded, and he implores you to be. And once you are, then you can't go back to no other mind. Once you're single, you can't be double anymore, because once you're double, you're unstable. So when you read Christ's words, if you try to carnally respond to what he's saying by doing carnal things, then guess what? You're not going to profit from doing that because it's spirit. He told you that they are, and they're spiritually discerned. That's why some of them didn't believe. Continuing, and they're going to tell you why they didn't believe. We're going to prove out why they didn't believe. For there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. So now, the betrayal that happens to Yahushua, why does it happen? Could it be the same thing I said in the beginning of this video? Personal gain of a nigga. Love of money. Love of getting for his own fucking self. The acquiring of goods for one's own damn self. The one who held the bag. Isn't it interesting? He's the one that did the betraying. It ain't to a nigga like me because I'm used to understanding Yahushua's words by the Spirit. That's the nigga in the camp that you got to look out for. The one that's holding that bag of money. That damn simple. The one who covets things. The one who wants it all for himself. But he paints it under a veneer. We could have took that money and gave it to the poor. Not that he cared for the poor. See, I like to read that part. Maybe you guys didn't read it. I read that. So then I got an attribute about that nigga personality that make me not like him. You don't care about the poor, but you said you did. I don't like you, nigga. Thou shalt not lie according to your law, right? "65. And he said, therefore said I unto you, this is why I said unto you, look, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father." His Father is a spirit. So when you're brought to Yahushua, the Spirit is who bring you. Skeet neely, can you understand me? Yeah, it's the Spirit that draws you to this person that you can't seem to turn away from. You see it? The Spirit, Abba. From that time, many of his disciples went back. I might as well call them niggas disciples. Some of them disciples went back, y'all. Not no disciples. They went back. So they said, we can't understand. We can't receive that. That means they're carnal. And didn't I tell you that that's how you separate the wheat from the tares? Is by saying something that's vulgar to the carnal mind, not to the spiritual, but to the carnal mind. And if they get offended, then you know that they're carnally minded. And that's why Yahushua said, did this offend you? It only offended you because you're carnal. Because if you were spiritual, you'd be humble. You'd be meek. You'd be lowly. So if a nigga raised his voice, you wouldn't be offended because you're already, you know, you deserve worse than a nigga yelling at you. You deserve worse than God's Spirit checking you verbally. But when a father corrects you with his word, then you've been given grace. And that's why Christ is called the Word. And he came full of truth and grace. Because And the Father gives you his word and says, son, don't do that. You would rather him even do this. Son, didn't I tell you, don't fucking touch it. Don't touch it again. Wouldn't you rather him do that to you than to fucking whoop you? And if he did that instead of whoop you, doesn't that mean that though it sounds harsh, he's still extending you his grace? Because what would you rather have? Son, don't touch it. The second time you touch it. Son, listen to your father. Don't touch it. The third time you touch it. Son, you didn't hear me? Don't touch that. The fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, the seventh time, the eighth time, the 10th time. Son, listen to me. Don't you touch that again. You see it? Now watch this. The other father, he never does those 10 times with even that yelling. He doesn't do that. He just does this. The first time kids touch it, pow! Smacks the blood out of his mouth. Don't touch it. Did he give his son grace? Did he give his son his word, or did he punish him? He punished him. So that's called judgment. But you think the long-suffering father is wrong when he raises his voice and says, don't you damn touch it again. You think he's wrong when he does that. Well, aren't you supposed to be kind? Aren't you supposed to be, look at the accuser, aren't you supposed to be patient? Aren't you supposed to be, well, aren't you supposed to be a good son, Cain, and do what's right? Oh, am I my brother's keeper? Ask Yahusha and let him answer that for you. That's what I tell people today to prove that they're in the Cain energy. They are Antichrist. It's everywhere. The spirit of Antichrist is everywhere. The spirit of Antichrist says work and not rest, because there's only one alternative to rest, and it's work. And Yahusha said he can't give you rest. He didn't come to give you work. He said, come to me who've been working, because you've been in a sin to another slave master. But y'all can't seem to get it or understand it, y'all simples. But the true disciples, y'all get it. And y'all hear the spirit and you heed to it. And you know the spirit reside here if you're wise. And if you're not wise, then there ain't no need to even come in here. You'll just be shown for how dumb you are. Now, is that what you want? Only the self-accountable can withstand such a thing. All right, then. Silwan Mr. Allah. Y'all be blessed today, little flockulators.